Hello, how is everyone doing today? I hope you're all having a wonderful Tuesday. Happy hour. I have a wonderful guest today. It's just been insane. I feel like January, as soon as it started, I feel like I've been just like nonstop busy and I'm like trying to keep up with everything. So I don't have his intro video, but John Automates is going to be joining me today. I'm very excited about that to get some one-on-one time with him. And we're going to be talking about, what's going on in the biz and movies coming up. And there's been quite a few trailers recently. And also maybe, whatever we want to talk about really, because there's always so much to talk about with John. But neither here nor there. And it's the year of the dragon. So we all have to just like keep up with it. And it's good. It's like, it's better to be super busy, I guess, than not busy at all. So, but neither here nor there. It is Tuesday. Have a lovely happy hour drink if you have one. And cheers. So I'm going to get to the chat and then we can move on from there. Let's see. Hunter, hey, I won't be here when you go live. I just wanted to say hi. I've been sick for the last few days, so sleep is calling my name. LOL, have a good show. Oh, that's so nice of you. Also, everyone in the chat, if I'm too loud or too quiet, let me know. We're reorganizing a lot of stuff in the apartment, and I have like kind of a weird setup right now, kind of. So if I am too loud or too quiet, I would love the feedback because I want it to be easy for you to listen to. So I don't want you to be like, oh man, or if you can't hear me at all. So also, if anyone is watching Beef, I'm actually going to do a poll. I know I'm like really late to this show, but I'm going to do a poll about Beef because I'm obsessed with it. And I think we're probably going to be watching the finale tonight, probably. So I just can't get enough of that show. Dimension Scott, hello. How are you doing? Nice to see you. Thank you so much for joining us today. Maxfield is at work. Always very supportive, though. Thank you so much. What up, party people? It is always a party here. So, Luke, how are you? I'm doing well. As I said before, I've been trying to catch up with January, but it's good. D. Marcel, hi. What's going on? Hope you are having a wonderful Tuesday. Thanks so much for being here. And yes, John Automates will be here later. Probably sooner than later because I was really late today, so I apologize. Jacqueline Horror, hello. I love Caprice. She's going to be on my show sooner than later. We just have to figure out the right time. But she has so many great things to say about media, content, like as far as movies go and horror goes. And like she's just great. So she was on my Beau is Afraid live stream. If you guys ever checked that out, that was a long time ago though. I need to do like a big group like live stream about something. I don't know. I kind of want to do it about poor things, but I'm not sure. Maybe I'll do a poll about that. Maybe like an Oscar film like stream about a specific movie or two. Yes, indeed. Yes, we have to, get this show. I mean, it's happy hour, right? So, and in my apartment, I don't have to pay for. I mean, I pay for the bottle, but I don't have to. It's cheaper in my apartment than if I was at a bar. Slip de Garçon, volume is spot on. Fear not. Well, thank you, sir, so much. Thank you very much. View with Drew. Hello, how are you? And hey, Tracy Holland Oates. Thank you so much, guys. So yeah, I'm gonna do a really quick poll because I'm just really curious about this. And then we'll talk about some other things before John gets on. I'm still I have to show you guys too. This is the craziest. Actually, I'll do this first because I posted this on Instagram and I can't believe this is reality. It has to do with Barbie, and we all know that I think people crying about it not getting nominated, or it is nominated. So I keep saying that, but it's like it has been nominated. Greta Gerwig has been nominated. Margot Robbie has been nominated as a producer. I can't stand how people are just freaking out. So I just wanted to bring this up to people's attentions because this was posted in the LA Times and it's just like mind boggling to me. Here it is. Okay. So, let's see if I can make this big. Yes, I can make this big. It brought me to Reddit. So, that's fine. I'll just share it on Reddit. If I can share it, here we go. Yeah, you guys got to read this. It is the craziest thing. I can't believe this was even a statement made. Here we go. So it says, if only Barbie had done a little time as a sex worker, or barely survived becoming the next victim in a mass murder plot, or stood accused of shoving Ken out of the dream house's top window, certainly millions of Barbie fans are currently wishing they could push someone, perhaps a member or two of the film Academy, out of a very high window. So this person's referring to 3 different movies that were nominated for the directors, I believe specifically, because the first line, the sex worker thing, is about poor things. The survived the next victim in a mass murder plot is about Killers of the Flower Moon. So that's Scorsese. And then the last one, accusing shoving Ken out of the dream house's top window, that's referring to Anatomy of a Fall, and Justine Triet got nominated. So this is just like the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen. And it's kind of like, this is what I feel like is really driving me crazy the most. You know, Barbie is supposed to be like the most empowering movie of the year for women and blah, 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 blah. They're not even talking about the fact that Justine Triet, who is a female director who made an international movie, like that, she got the nomination for Best Director. That is incredibly difficult to pull off. It is, I mean, there's 2 this year, Jonathan Glazer from the Zone of Interest as well, but typically the director of like a really successful or like one of the best, international films doesn't always get nominated. And it's kind of insane to me that no one is praising this woman as much as they are complaining about Greta Gerwig not getting nominated and Margot Robbie not getting nominated as actor and director. So it just really bothers me, and it feels so hypocritical because I think like everyone should be like thrilled that, and not just because Justine Triet is a woman, but like Anatomy of a Fall is awesome. Like it's a really, really good movie and a really well written script. Like there's a reason why people love that film. And also the other thing about that movie, it's actually, Anatomy of a Fall doesn't actually qualify as the international pick this year because France chose a film that I think is very considered to be like bland, Oscar baity a little bit. It's kind of like chocolat, I think, is like what I've been hearing. I think it's called The Taste of Things. So France chose to submit that movie and not Anatomy of a Fall, which is really stupid because Anatomy of a Fall is done really well. It won, I believe, the Palme d'Or at Cannes. So that was just strange. But either way, I just had to pull this up because it is just the craziest thing I've ever seen. And I don't really use Reddit a lot, so I don't know what's popping up on here, but it's this is just that was where I could find it. So I'm going to stop sharing that, but love to hear your thoughts on that because it's just driving me nuts. Okay. Let's see. Perfect timing, Dementia and Scott, while I clean up my kitchen. Oh, well, it is, this time of year, you're going to kind of get ready for the spring and the summer. So yeah, I'm glad I'm able to keep you company while you're cleaning your kitchen. And it'll look so nice when you're done. So that's what's great about cleaning. Yes, Chita Rivera passed away. And Chita Rivera, I'm actually glad he brought this up. Chita Rivera was the original Anita on Broadway in West Side Story. And she was actually like the original character for a lot of film. Let me rephrase this. She was like the original character in a lot of Broadway shows that they then adapted into movies, but they never used her in the movies. And I always thought this was so weird. Like in Bye Bye Birdie, she was the, I don't remember, I'm blanking on the character's name, but she was the original character in Bye Bye Birdie. They used from Psycho. Oh my goodness. Why am I blanking on we all know the woman in Psycho, Jamie Lee Curtis's mom. Anyway, they went with her. And then also with Sweet Charity, they also did not go with Chita Rivera for the film. So it's like very strange that she was always never cast in the movie roles because she was such a huge Broadway star and she originated all of these. But either way, yeah. So R.I.P. I believe she was like 90, but still dancing and still like killing it. Like she's an incredible dancer. An incredible performer, and she was in Chicago, and like she again originated so many iconic roles. So that was nice to point that out. So thank you. Yeah, they messed up not submitting Anatomy. Yeah, it's strange. It's very strange. It's so irritating. I saw Barbie. I liked it. I respect it, but it's not the visionary masterpiece people keep hyping it up to be. I'm sorry, but there are way better movies made last year. I totally that's like so how I feel, Caprice. I think like you and me and like quite a few people in the YouTube film community feel this way. And it's like I'm not someone that hates Barbie. Like I don't hate it at all. I love the first two acts. I really do not like the third act, but I really like the first two. And even so, like, yeah, production design, like I get that. Like even directing, I feel like would make more sense for Greta Gerwig than the screenplay. But neither here nor there. It's not this like oh, it's. I feel like people that think Barbie's the best movie of the year are people that never watch movies. I really, really feel that way. Um, so to me its best picture nomination is again just like Top Gun or Avatar. And I liked both of those movies better well, I liked Top Gun better, but I don't think I liked Avatar better, but neither here nor there. You guys know what I'm saying. um See, Marcus Morse, some of y'all at the like button. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for stopping by and saying hi. So I'm gonna just I know we don't talk a lot about TV on this. I talk mostly about movies. But I am going to put a poll up because I'm obsessed with beef and I just want to know who's actually who's seen it. I'm sure if you have seen it or you've wanted to see it, you probably have already seen it. Um, but I'm so close to the end and it's really incredible. I want to know your thoughts too. Um, Stephen Yun is no longer going to be. I think he was offered some. Oh my God, yeah, he was offered something. See, John would know, and I'm forgetting what it was, but he was offered like some Marvel film role or DC role, and he's now not doing it, and I don't blame him. We all know him from like The Walking Dead, and like now, and he was also in a great film called Minari, and so I really like him. He's a really fantastic actor. And in Beef, he was just like, forget about it. So I'm just gonna see if you guys like Beef, if you are going to see it, or if you haven't seen it. Just because it's way too late for me to like. I need to start watching shows when they're popular, like when they're popular. You know what I mean? Not wait like 7 months later, or however long it's been. Uh, did you watch Beef? Beef. And I'll just do 3 options. Yes, no, and then we'll do, no, but I want to. Okay. Just because 'cause I'm curious. I know too. So, okay, cool. The poll is there. I hope I'm not, yeah, okay, cool. Okay, so, let's see here. View withdrew. What movie coming out in February are you most, I think, excited for? Um, I believe I'm gonna see Argyle this weekend. Are you guys gonna see Argyle? I'm hoping that watching the trailer 10 billion times was worth it and the movie's really good. I feel like my goodness, there was the whole entire year of 2023 was the Argyle trailer just had to be shown. So I think I can literally replay it by heart in my brain at this point. And really, I mean, I think the only clever thing they did with that, though, like I like Matthew Vaughn, first of all. I really like his stuff, and I think he's a good director. But I think the cleverness of the trailer is the whole who is the real Argyle, and that's the like big hook there. Because at this point, if you're going to show me the trailer 10 billion times, I'm gonna be like, okay, like just tell me already. Like, so I'm gonna have to know. It's kind of one of those, you keep teasing it and teasing it and teasing it. It's like, okay, well, like I can't just like not watch the movie. I have to find out. So that's definitely why I'm going to be seeing that. So but yeah, I'm not really positive. I'll get a list up, I think, at some point here. I feel like Challengers comes out in March, but I could be wrong, and it could be a February release. And then Dune is coming out in early March, I believe. So, um, yeah. So, but anyway, we have John actually is here, so I'm going to bring him on. Hey, John.
Hello. How's it going?
How are you doing today?
I am doing pretty well, actually. Trying to get out of some copyright hell with YouTube, but otherwise doing all right.
Yeah, is that still going on?
A little bit, but I've also changed my style a little bit, so we'll see how that goes as we continue on. But how are you doing? How's everything going?
I'm doing okay. Yeah, it's been I don't know about you, but I feel like January just feels like the busiest month ever, and I don't know. It just feels like everything's on fast pace, and but
I think it's I think life is busy. Like there's your surroundings are busy in January, but like you yourself might be slower because you're trying to like get yourself into things. If that
yes,
makes sense. You know, so
yes.
it's like weird. It's like, oh, try to like get geared up for the new year and everything like that. Even though it's no different than December, but we just yeah, it's weird.
It's strange. Yeah, maybe like December feels like a little bit more lax, and there's no like stress on what we want to do because it's like, oh well, it's like the holidays. So now we're
Yeah.
like, okay, we gotta get things done.
Oh
um,
man.
are you going to be seeing Argyle this weekend? Because we were just talking
I
about
am.
that.
I'm seeing it on Thursday.
Oh, nice,
Yeah.
nice,
Actually after ISO cubes. I'll probably end up seeing it. But yeah.
cool. Yeah, I was
I
telling them. Oh, sorry, no, you can go
no,
first.
go ahead. Go ahead.
I was just telling
Go
them
ahead.
because you're a marketing guy, and I was saying that like
Mhm.
this year or 2023, I feel like you couldn't go to the movie theater without seeing that trailer. And at this point, I'm just like, well, I need to know who the real Argyle is, you know?
Yeah. Oh man, right? I I am curious about that movie. There are obvious steps that they took in order to make Argyle seem better than what it actually well, to be fair, we don't know what it actually is. But there are obvious steps that they took to try and gain audience. All of the Dua Lipa stuff, I don't believe she's in the movie that much, but I do believe that Argyle is using her the way the NFL is using Taylor Swift right now, where it's just like, let's see if we could just capture that bit of audience, right? And let's see
Yeah,
if we got that. We got John Cena coming in and everything. Henry Cavill brings his own. I'm very curious because it could be a mess, and that's what I'm worried about.
it could
Could
be
be a
this.
real mess. Yeah.
I love the cast. I love that
Mhm.
Sam Rockwell's in it. I watch anything he's in, really. There was like one thing I saw on Twitter, and it was kind of like, oh, Argyle's the cat. I was like, that is
I
terrible.
I think we all think it though, right? There's a large consortment of people who believe it's the cat. Like it, I wouldn't like I wouldn't even be if it is the cat. I'm not going to be surprised. Let's just say that
Yeah.
because it's crazy.
It is crazy. Yeah. I'm excited to see Henry Cavill in a new project. And I know you actually brought to Bumberger's and mine attention today. I didn't watch it yet, but there's a new trailer with Henry
Mhm.
Cavill. And you said it's like kind of in the vein of Inglorious Bastards.
Well, yeah, it's Guy Ritchie. So Guy
Okay.
Ritchie has another movie, which is weird because we've talked about different movies that were coming out, and I guess either maybe we just missed this one, but uh, Henry Cavill being in. So we remember Inglorious Bastards, and remember that like Brad Pitt was in it, and at the time, Brad Pitt seemed a little bit more of a stoic-ish type of person, and then he goes into Inglorious Bastards, and he's insane. like quite literally insane. And so I'm like looking at Henry Cavill in this new movie, and you're like, wait a minute, Henry Cavill is absolutely in the trail. He's absolutely insane, and I'm with it. What is it called? I always keep mixing it up. It's not the League. I always say the League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, but it's
Oh my
not
God.
that. It's the unex. Yeah, it's so
It's
weird.
Sean
Let me see
Connery.
if I can look it up real quick because it's so. It is the Ministry of Ungentlemanly. That's what it is. The Ministry
Warfare.
of Ungentlemanly Warfare, and he's insane in it, and I
Yeah,
like it. I like it.
that's
Bonebridge and
cool.
I actually talked about it a little bit earlier about you remember Daniel Craig? Did you ever see Logan Lucky?
I don't know if I did. I
So,
probably, I think I did.
but you remember Knives Out though, right?
Yes.
So like you after Logan Lucky came out, I think a year or two after Spectre, and
Okay.
that was like when we didn't know if he was going to come back and play James Bond, and part of the reason he was just kind of tired of the process as well as like that seriousness. He was saying that I don't get a chance to see other or do other things. Then he goes and does Logan Lucky, and he's an insane person in that, and you kind of see that, and we saw that with Captain America as well, Chris Evans, when he did The Gray Man. Not a great movie, but he acted like this in a totally different way than we're used to seeing. I think guys need these projects.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think it's I mean, if he's the one, I think he's making the right choice by doing something like this, because
Mhm.
we've all talked about it many times. Like, what would Henry Cavill do next?
Right, right.
And changing that image. So that works well. I think I'm really excited to see it. I'm waiting till later this evening to watch the trailer. But
Do
yeah,
you
oh yes,
think he Do you think he gets yeah, you would. You would definitely remember Logan Lucky for sure.
okay, I didn't see it then.
Uh do you think he gets James Bond? Or forget gets, because that's kind of up in the air. Do you think he gets heavily considered as James Bond? He's 40 years old. Daniel Craig, I believe, was 41 when he first started. So it's not like, oh my goodness. Do we care that much about having a younger Bond? I don't think we really do, considering how many people wanted Idris to play him. And Idris is even older. So do you think he gets considered?
I yeah, I don't think I could see him not getting considered at this point. And I think that him being 40 is in his favor. I don't think
Yes.
people would
Yeah.
take like a super young, I mean, unless you wanted to do like the whole origin story or something like that, which I guess that's what they were thinking of doing, or like when he first started out. But yeah, you want like a mature Bond.
Yeah, do we really want to see a young spy, 20-something-year-old spy?
Spy
I
Kids.
yeah, I just
Yeah,
also
no.
realistically, young spies, and obviously they exist like in real life, but for the most part, I like to think that most spies, unless it's something very specific, don't even really get to that level until your 30s anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I was curious about it.
And we all know you're the spy expert, so
Oh, I love spy movies. I love spy everything. So yeah,
yeah,
absolutely.
you wrote the guidebook on the ages and stuff. You're like, you're not ready, kid. You gotta wait a couple more years.
It's
I'm just
fun.
gonna hit the
It's
chat
fun.
really quick.
Mhm.
Argyle looks some interesting, but for me, it's Bob Marley, One Love, and Madam Web. I'm in no rush for.
Mm.
Yeah, I'm not in a rush for Madam Web, but I'll see it.
I'm curious if Bob Marley does a little bit. I'm curious if Bob Marley goes the route of Rocket Man, or the movie that Queen did, or even Whitney Houston's movie of like I Want. I'm curious of what direction it goes. Is it a concert movie? Did they try to actually get into the drama? That's going to be interesting.
The actor looks they did a good job casting him. I just feel
Yes.
like the trailer itself felt a little cheap production
Mhm.
wise. So, but it might just be a bad trailer. And I also saw that
Well,
trailer a billion.
that's Secret Invasion and Barbie. Oh, I forget his name. He's got like a really regal name. But the
Oh,
guy from yeah.
I remember him in Barbie. I didn't see Secret Invasion.
Yeah, he plays the bad guy in Secret Invasion, and it's not great for his career. But otherwise, I think he'll do a good job for sure.
Yeah. John
Hey,
three
D
streams
Marcel, how's it going?
must be my guardian angel, he said.
We are streaming quite a bit.
Hi NFG.
One
Thanks so much
step
for stopping
away.
by. Let's see here. What movies do you still need to watch before the Oscars? I personally need to still watch The Zone of Interest, and I do want to
Hmm.
catch a few more of the animated films and the documentaries. So that's where I'm at. But I don't know about you, John, if you want to see any more before the Oscars.
I have not seen Zone of Interest myself. I think we've seen every. I think both of us have seen everything else that's nominated, at least nominated for Best Picture.
Yeah, I think so.
Holdovers, Killers of the Flower Moon, Maestro, Oppenheimer, Past Lives, Poor Things.
Yeah.
Yeah. What would you recommend if you had to pick? Let's say you had to pick like a weekend, one movie on one day, one movie on another day. What two movies would you recommend out of like the Best Picture, just the Best Picture ones?
Hmm. I would do okay, I would choose Poor Things, but I would pair it with, like, The Holdovers because I feel like
Hmm.
one's super out there and then one's, like, not. So, I don't know, I feel like, you like because I know Poor Things isn't for everyone, but I feel like it's still a really well-made film, and I really like it, but I would then be like, "Okay, but then here's also The Holdovers," which is more up a lot of people's alleys, so
I would consider Past Lives and The Holdovers as well.
Oh,
And
yeah.
I think Past Lives is like that kind of really heavy drama-ish type.
Mhm.
And watch that first. And then like finish it up with something that's a little bit more feel good, that kind of thing. If that make sense. I think that would work pretty well.
It does, and I'm glad you brought that question up because I just noticed they're bringing back into theaters, like, all the nominees as they usually do, but
All
I
of them.
always
Hmm.
forget that they do that every year, and then, so, like, now you can see, like, Anatomy of a Fall, The Holdovers, Past Lives, like, a lot of them are all coming back, so if you've missed and you wanna see them in the theater, I recommend it, so,
Yeah.
here we go. Is Cavill too big for Bond? Would he be the buffest Bond?
He would be the buffest Bond by far, but I don't think he's too big. I think he's only like 6'1". I think he's just, I think like John Cena. John Cena's not a really super tall guy, but he's just so big that we like look at him like he's super tall. But
Yeah,
I think Pierce Brosnan was also, I think Pierce Brosnan was taller than Henry Cavill.
really? Wow.
I think so. I think so.
Huh. Beloved Peace. Thank you so much for joining us today. No one wants to see Tom Holland play James Bond.
No,
Yes.
no, thank you. No,
No,
thank you.
no.
He
He
didn't.
considered?
No, no, I don't think he
Okay.
was. But
Okay.
he had. There was this thing after Uncharted where I believe he was asked about it, but or somebody had made up some rumor or something. But he did such a poor job. Not his fault, but he did such a poor job in Uncharted, which kind of ruined that for a lot of people. That yeah, that's no.
Did you see
Please stay
Uncharted?
away.
I didn't see it.
I did, and I wish I hadn't. That's it wasn't good. Wasn't good.
Yeah. Um, Here we are. I thought the Madam Web trailer looked fan made. Yeah.
I think a lot of us did.
Did you notice too? This was brought up to my attention because I guess I got a little confused about who owns the rights to Spider-Man and all of that stuff, and the whole Spider-Man verse that's going on with all the villains. That really has nothing to do with the MCU. And like I kept thinking to myself, like, because Max told me today, he was like, they're not related, right? So you're never going to see like Spider-Man in any of these movies because of the deal they sold, or all these, or at least they're
Yeah.
not considered MCU movies. But these actors that get hired in these Spider-Man villain movies all think they're now a part of the MCU.
Yeah, that's why I think that's messed up. We've talked about this before where like I don't think superhero movies have the same kind of appeal to a person's career as they used to. And I think there's been enough people who've come out who have played superheroes who are like, I'm good. I don't really want to do this. And then other people who are up and coming who might be a little bit bigger than the average see it and go, all right, maybe not. Or like you said before, you have veteran actors advising younger actors to kind of stay away. And I think it's so unfair to be signed up to join something because you may not really know. And I think it's unfair to be in a superhero thing where you think it is going to be part of that Disney Marvel and like nobody says anything. Now that might be up to your agent or whomever, but you have Dakota Johnson now coming out and saying like she doesn't even think Madam Web's gonna be good.
Yeah.
Which is yeah. But
Yep.
Max is right though. Spider-Man is owned by it's kind of co-owned, I guess, by Disney, Sony. And but I don't think Tom Holland, the details of that contract are so weird. I don't think Tom Holland can actually show up in a Sony movie. But I think
Right.
they could have Toby and Andrew show up, which
Yeah.
is like a weird, I don't know. There's more details to that, but yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting the way she's handling this, and I don't know if it's because like we all know she's a nepotism baby, which I don't think is an automatically a negative thing. I think it can be a negative, it can be a positive, but I think
Yeah.
also she's probably used to the 50 Shades of Grey trilogy
Mhm.
backlash. I mean, I think the first one, it's not that they were ever critically well received, but I think the first one was considered like fine for what it was, and then they just kept getting worse. And I think that maybe she's just like, she's learned how to kind of like laugh it off and not like beat herself up because she knows it's a superhero movie and like it maybe wasn't what she signed up for, but like it happened.
I also think it might be a quick way to distance yourself just enough.
Mhm.
Like, you know what? And not that we saw again, I say this all the time. We saw Michael B. Jordan do this with Fantastic Four, where he distanced himself, and eventually Kate Mara and Miles Teller, they all did it, where they were kind of like, it wasn't really the greatest thing. And they
Yeah.
kind of got out of there.
Yeah.
Sometimes you have to do it.
Because that I was thinking about that because I never saw that one because I had heard the trailer was really bad. Like those were like solid actors that were cast. Like
Yes.
my goodness.
It
Yeah.
was actually foolish how good of a cast they had. Miles Teller, Michael B. Jordan, Kate Mara, Jamie Bell are your people with
Yeah.
Toby Kebbell as Dr. Doom. Good cast. And you messed that right up. Like,
Oh,
hey.
Dell on movies. So nice for
Hey,
showing
what's
up.
going
Thank you
on?
so much. Holdovers and American Fiction pair well if
I would
it's
agree
looking
with
for
that
some.
too.
That's a good one. Yeah.
Mhm.
Especially, I guess, if you want to go for like more comedic. But again, I thought Poor Things was hilarious too. Like, I think that it is it is a comedy technically. So, I mean, you can get a lot of laughs with all three of those, I feel like too. Um,
Huge no.
yeah. No, no, no,
Huge
no.
no.
Zonovic is the most alienating nominee, not because of the subject. I think, to be honest, I think it's alienating just because pretty much no one has been able to see it yet. I think like
Mhm.
it's like some small groups like all got it, and then it like disappeared, and now I can finally see it. I think March 3rd or something at Regal or something like that.
Okay.
The distribution on that movie is very bizarre. But I've heard incredible things about the sound design in particular and the score, and people do like it. It's not a light movie though. It's quite heavy. So
What is your prediction for who wins Best Picture?
I don't have one right now. I know it's easy to say Oppenheimer, but I don't know if that's the case. Um, I really, this is we were. Okay. I'm so glad I got this up. I showed everyone this earlier. I don't know if you like saw this at all, but this is the craziest thing to me. I'm gonna bring this up in the chat one more time for everyone because it's still. I can't believe someone from the LA Times wrote this. Um, here we are. Do, 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 do. Okay. This woman who writes for the LA Times did this entire thing. And I'll repeat it again. If only Barbie had done a little time as a sex worker, or barely survived becoming the next victim in a mass murder plot, or stood accused of shoving Ken out of the dream house's top window. Certainly, millions of Barbie fans are currently wishing they could push someone, perhaps a member or two of the Film Academy, out of a very high window. Can you believe that, John? It's referencing three of the nominees that got nominated for Best Director, like Poor Things, Killers of the Flower Moon, and then Anatomy of a Fall. And it's just like,
Oh
but
my
like, what do you
God.
say?
Get
And it's all because
over
of
it.
the nomination thing.
That is so stop. Barbie
Yeah.
is not Barbie is an okay film.
Yeah.
Why okay. So when Avatar was up there, like nobody believed Avatar to be the best picture. It got there because it won the box office. And that makes sense. But like what are we doing? This is this is
I know.
so foolish. This is so foolish. Like, let it go. Barbie shouldn't even really be there if we're really being honest, compared to all the other movies that are up there.
I agree with you. And I brought this up that the fact that like they're all pissed about this and like Barbie's supposed to be about like feminism and like supporting women. It's like, well, Justine Triet like got an international film to be very present at the Oscars and she got nominated for Best Director. Don't you think they should be celebrating that?
They act like she does not exist. They are acting like Anatomy of a Fall. It has never come out. They're just acting like that's not even the thing. And it's like, are you kidding me? One,
Yeah.
Anatomy of a Fall versus Barbie, those are different stratosphere. When we say there are levels to this, those are come on.
Yeah.
Come on.
I know.
Stop. That's
Yeah.
so and Barbie's not the best in her own movie.
No. No.
Like
No.
that's
Now
foolish. I can't.
everyone knows I can't stand the Annette Bening nomination, but that's neither here nor there, and that is for another day. But yeah, I just couldn't believe it when I saw that. Like, people need to calm down, really.
I don't think we have too many crazy things at this year's awards that make people go, oh, that's they shouldn't be there. That shouldn't happen. Except for Barbie. Barbie is the actual odd movie out where it's like, I don't know if this should be here.
I
So
agree. Like I was
Craziness.
like I'm fine with it for like production design and things like that. And like
Right.
the
Right.
yeah.
Yes.
Um okay. D Marcel says people were saying the baby in Madam Web was baby Tobes. I heard that
Yeah.
too. What do you think
Hmm.
about that?
It's stupid. They didn't, you know what they did? They didn't know what they wanted to do. So they originally tried to say, well, Spider-Man's a part of it because Emma Roberts is in the movie as Mary Parker, which is Spider-Man's mother. So it's
Right.
like, and the movie technically takes place before Toby's, but for the longest time, there was this large rumor that they didn't refute it until just recently that Andrew Garfield was going to be in the movie. So it didn't like make sense timeline wise. It's like, this isn't No Way Home or anything like that. So that Madam Web is in all sorts of trouble because the Marvels came out, and I personally do not believe that Madam Web has anything going for it that would be more popular than the Marvels. There's nothing. The actresses in the Marvels are more popular. The source material of the Marvels is more popular. And it's the MCU versus Sony, and it's a Sony movie that's not using Spider-Man.
It's very strange.
Yeah.
Oh boy. Yeah. I mean, the only thing on its side is that there's not a ton coming out around it, I
I do
guess.
like the Valentine's Day. I like the Valentine's Day release date. I think that's fantastic. Like, I think that's perfect.
Yeah, I agree with that too. Um, but you brought up a great point though. When we were streaming the other day, you said the trailer needs to be really, really good for the Super Bowl to get the
Mhm.
female Taylor Swift fans to go want to see
Yes.
Madam Web, and then they'll drag their boyfriends to see it for Valentine's Day weekend.
I don't know if you heard the moment the Kansas City Chiefs won and Taylor stepped on that field, they said that the ad spots went up in price by like hundreds of thousands of dollars, if not
Wow.
millions.
Wow.
So they knew that her fans are going to watch for her. And yes, for people who are going to watch the Super Bowl and don't really like Taylor Swift or don't care about Taylor Swift, they're going to show the hell out of her because that's what drives it. I get it. It's a business decision. But now
Yeah.
I think everybody's like, man, let's see if what can we get? How can we get our thing to show up in front of Taylor's audience the way the NFL was able to show up in front of Taylor's audience? Except
Yeah.
Taylor's not dating your movie or your product like she's dating
Right.
Travis Kelce, but you get what I mean.
Yes. Dell says, "Let's be honest. Dakota Johnson is used to being in bad movies. She should know him when she sees him." Yeah, I mean, I think that's also a part of it too. I
Has she
kind of
ever
feel
been in
bad.
what's her best movie? What's her best movie?
The only time I thought she was fine, and the movie I thought wasn't really that great, but it was okay. That Johnny Depp one where he plays the Irish gangster, bulgy.
Black Mass.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think yeah.
I
She
would
was.
say I think she wasn't that bad. Again, didn't have like a big role. Don't Worry, Darling. That's the most recent thing I've seen of her. But
Oh yeah.
she's been in a lot of bad stuff.
I
Yeah.
forgot she was in that. Wow. Yeah.
Yeah.
That movie has a lot of drama to that one, that's for sure. It was yeah, no, I know. And you know what's crazy about that? Gus Van Sant wanted to direct that trilogy. Like Gus Van Sant was like, he presented a whole thing to I forget the writer's name. And she
Mhm.
was just so adamant about getting a female to do it that she chose this one director that I think only did one other movie that was like so. And it's like, come on, you could have had like an incredible like movie, film director do this and do it right instead of making it stupid. I mean, the books are
I
stupid, but
don't
still.
I think we need to stop with the female male stuff because there's
Yeah.
been women who have directed men very well and vice versa. There's been men who've directed women very well. And I think we need to stop. Oh, only women can direct women. On what planet? Like
Yeah.
sometimes the interjection of different ideas actually is good. So why does it need to be only a woman can direct? For example, and I say this all the time, and people who know me know this, She-Hulk probably should not have been directed by Jessica Chow. It just shouldn't have. Did it need a man to do it? Not necessarily, but like because there could have been a man who didn't read the comics either, and it would have been just as bad. But like
Yeah.
Jessica Chao was focused on making a woman-centric story and did not realize that the target audience for She-Hulk as a whole is mostly men. So, like,
Yeah.
this isn't Wonder Woman where Wonder Woman can kind of gather a lot of women. She-Hulk is a male audience. It's been that way that was one of the first comic books I ever read. It's been that
Yeah.
way for decades. So
Yeah.
I hope they stop doing that. Hopefully.
That argument comes up a lot too with Poor Things, where I've heard people
Mhm.
say like, I don't feel comfortable that a man told that story, and it's like, well, it was also written like that. It's based off a book that was written by a man, and like
Yeah.
Emma and Yorgos have such a like well bonded, like safe space to create art together. I don't see anything wrong with it.
It's so weird. It's so
Yeah.
weird. Some of the people who like Zack Snyder the most are female actors.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
what are we doing? You
And
know,
I'll
like, I
say,
don't know.
Zach, I think you would agree with this. I think Zack Snyder is one of the few people that knows Gal Gadot's few acting strengths, and he's able to kind of
Yes.
make her look like a better actress than she actually is. But you know, again, neither here nor there. But
It's wild
um,
stuff. It's wild stuff
yeah.
for sure.
Let's see. What do you think is the worst horror remake? I think Rob Zombie's Halloween 1 and 2. I don't think I hated the first one, but I didn't see the second one. But I've heard the Children of the Corn remake that came out last year was horrendous. I don't know if you saw it.
Yeah. I was one of them ones I turned off.
Yeah.
There is I'm trying to think. I didn't really like the Friday the 13th that came out in like the 2010, I think it came out or something. I didn't like that. I thought that was pretty
Oh
bad.
yeah.
Pet Cemetery. I didn't like Pet Cemetery. I wouldn't call it the worst horror remake, but I didn't like it.
I didn't see it. I think I heard similar things.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
There's much worse ones, but I don't think either one of us would have watched them. So there's that.
this is a good question for you, John, because you're the marketing expert. Madam Web posters just to Dakota Johnson's face and her name. Did agents push for that, or someone trying to cater her career? Maybe.
No, that's what they thought. So if some of the new Madam Web posters actually heavily feature Sydney Sweeney, and but
Oh,
before I think they thought that Dakota, not that she's not a draw, but I think they thought she was the draw of the movie. And I think they were looking at it like, all right, well, her face is recognizable. She's been in big stuff before, 50 Shades, obviously. So they put her front and center. When in reality, if you look at today's day and age, Sydney Sweeney is actually the one who's way more recognizable. And so that's why they kind of released those character posters and things like that. That being said, I wouldn't say anything someone's trying to crater her career, but I think she realizes that this isn't good for her career, and so she's trying to back off.
yeah. I mean, I think that she did do a really good job actually on SNL, and I think that was like
Yes, she did. Yes, she did.
perfect opportunity for like you said, like she's playing ball by being like, yeah, I'm hosting SNL to, promote this movie. But then like let me say what I want to say too. And like not in an obnoxious way either. It's not a Rachel Zegler, situation.
Oh boy. Yeah.
I'm not sure which specific part this is referring to, but they enjoyed your
No,
face.
probably when I was looking at the Barbie thing.
Oh.
Yeah, it's just God.
The closest connection was Venom landing in the MCU.
Yes, at the end of No Way Home, I believe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Barbie is not Citizen Kane for crying out loud. Yes. Yes, fanboy. We agree. By the way, I saw Zone of Interest, by the way, which is why saying it doesn't play well. Yeah, I think the only thing I've heard is even people that are like saying it's a great film or whatever, they say like it makes you feel like a bad person. Like, and it's
That's
just
fair.
maybe there's like a big reveal, I think, and like I don't know. It's I know what the premise is, but I think it's about complacency in our everyday lives. I think is what I'm kind of grasping or gathering. Some people are just Barbie stans and tailor the arguments to cape up for Robbie. This is coming from someone who really enjoyed the movie, but those folks need to chill. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
They do. None of us are Barbie haters. At least you, myself, Bonebridger.
Yeah.
But it's just like you have to be objective in that
Yeah.
regard. Like objectively, Barbie should not be there. And to not have it there isn't an attack on women. It's a weird. I don't know.
I agree. Beloved Peace. I've been avoiding Sony's Spider-Man villain. Freedom to play since Abomination was Venom 2. I didn't see Venom 2 yet.
You don't want to. You probably shouldn't.
She was in The Social Network too. You know, I think
Oh yes,
who
yeah.
was she in that? Because I only remember Rooney Mara in it, and I don't remember a lot of women in that movie.
Social Network. I do not remember the name of the character, but I do remember her in it.
Okay.
A lot of people in Social Network actually.
Oh my God, Dell. Okay, I heard this was good. The Suspiria
Oh, I
remake.
never saw it.
I didn't see it
Never saw
either,
it.
and I think it's on Netflix. I'm not positive, but I heard that that was actually pretty good, and I forgot she was in that one.
Mm.
Okay, cool. How about what's your favorite performance by a music artist? Yeah, because I guess we could talk about the
Hmm.
best songs and stuff of the year a little bit.
Hmm. That's a good one.
I do like 8 Mile. I think that's a solid movie.
Yeah. 8 Mile might be the one. I
Yeah, I know.
my
It's
gosh,
so good.
you know,
Yeah.
because normally I would say Jamie Foxx, but
Oh,
Jamie
yeah.
Foxx is an actual like yes, he is a musician, but I think a lot of us consider him he's multi-talented, like Donald Glover, people like that. Bradley Cooper, you can make the case, but I don't think any of us consider him to be like straight up like platinum recording,
Yeah.
music artist
No.
versus actor. So if a straight music artist, I know there's some ones we're probably missing, but Eminem as 8 Mile might be right up there. I mean, we still quote that movie today.
Yeah. Yes. And it holds up because I actually
It
saw it like a
does.
lot later, and it definitely holds up for sure. Um, let's see. When should we expect the Simpsons movie 2? I think they're actually doing another one, which is I guess Simpsons just won another Emmy. Like they're I guess in another upward tick right now. So
Mm.
again, the only reason we have Disney Plus for the most part because he's a huge Simpsons fan. Um,
Thank
let's
God they
see.
still have it because if they didn't,
No.
another reason, you know.
Jessica Gao also wanted to make a courtroom show and didn't know anything about lawyers or have any in the writings room.
She was the wrong
That's so
choice.
weird.
She was the wrong choice.
That's
She
yeah,
didn't
like
know anything about the comic. She didn't know anything about. She wanted to make it Ally McBeal. She didn't know anything about Ally McBeal. So it's like, how did you?
that's strange. Yeah.
I complain out of love because I actually do love the character. So it's just like, how did you mess that one up?
Yeah, and like it's kind of mind blowing to me too because like one of the screenplays like I've been working on it has to deal with a very specific trade that someone's kind of an expert in, and I'm not a novice in the trade, but I'm pretty well familiar with it, but I want it to be super super accurate, which is also kind of annoying because you have to like like it's hard to like put your you're incorporating dialogue and stuff like that. You wanted to make sure it sounds correct, but also is
Mhm.
also, it's just like it's that whole type of thing. And that's kind of when one of my setbacks of why the script has been like not finished yet, because it's kind of like I have this like, oh my God, it has to be perfect for like the actual snobs of this thing that know exactly what it is.
Mhm.
So I just can't believe someone would do a project and wanting to do a courtroom show and not have a lawyer in the writing room. I think, or someone that's familiar with lawsuits and things like that in civil
I
cases.
I have a video coming out about Halo. That probably will come out on Sunday. But in Halo, one of the things I talked about was they did this movie for the video game. They did this movie, Forward Onto Dawn, like back in 2011, 12. The company that made it, 343, said they had a person who had to be on set who knew every single thing about Halo. and that person was consulted. Like, you cannot, and he was allowed to overstep the director and just like, hey, nope, wouldn't do this, wouldn't do that. And apparently that was something that was a little bit more common. We hear about that with Peter Jackson with Lord of the Rings and things like that. Today they don't do that because there's so much ego where it's like, well, I don't want you to overstep my, like, that doesn't happen in today's day and age. Because it's crazy that you wouldn't get someone who is a She-Hulk like connoisseur, or you wouldn't get someone who knows a lot about law, like you said, to like at least help with the, it's
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. And there's like so many people that are in specific different fields and they have YouTube channels, and then they'll like watch something, like it'll be like a doctor watching an episode of, Grey's
Yes,
Anatomy or
yeah.
something, and like dissecting, and like this doesn't happen. And then somebody's like, oh, well, that's actually really good. And it's like, I feel like
Yeah.
if you're writing something, you don't want those types of people being like, oh, this is all wrong,
Yeah, they'll drag it to hell. They
Yeah.
really will.
Yes. I feel like you could get away with that before the internet. You could get away with that
Yes.
before.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Yeah. Dell says he likes the Friday the 13th remake. I didn't see it. I think you said you didn't like it, right?
I couldn't get with it. I really couldn't get with it. Now, to be fair, I like the Halloween remake, and a lot of people can't get with that. So but horror, and we say this all the time, horror is going to be your own thing. Probably the most subjective genre there is.
Yeah. Blame Canada from the South Park movie was the best song nominee. That was a good one. Yeah.
I haven't heard that in a while, actually.
That one, and the one that won from Hustle and Flow, It's There for a Pimp. That was hilarious.
Yeah. That's right. That's right. I remember that.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. Yeah. I just like, okay. I wanted to ask you about this movie because there's so much speculation going around. There's been so many like, nothing's gone really like viral, but like Twitter stuff where people will be sitting in a movie theater and then seeing this teaser trailer and then it disappears and you can't see it. And it's for Nicolas Cage's horror movie called Long Legs. Have you heard about this movie? I can't wait to see this. I'm terrified though. It looks scary as hell.
I don't know what's going on with Nicolas Cage. It's like he's got this weird resurgence. He had like a good period in the 90s where he was like numero uno, like top tier actor. Then he had that long layoff, and then he's making all these like ridiculous weird things. And now he's so popular just as like he's Bill Murray. He's this generation's Bill Murray.
You're right.
Yeah.
Can you make that a meme? I think that meme would blow up.
Because he's just so pop. People just want to see him and stuff. Good, bad, doesn't matter. It's just,
That's very true.
It looks interesting though. I'm interested in seeing it.
I'm very excited. I don't think I've ever seen him be something that like so sadistic and effed up before. So is Fox's Spawn reboot dead?
No. Jason Blum said it's still coming out in 2025.
Wow.
So we'll see. That could, we'll see.
They've been making money, so I feel like if they haven't really had any financial problems, then they should. Remakes for A Nightmare on Elm Street, Black Christmas 2019 are both terrible.
I'll agree with those. Yeah. I personally would agree with those. Yeah.
Yeah, I think the only thing I liked about the Nightmare on Elm Street one was the casting, because I really liked Jackie Earle Haley from Watchmen. Is that the one we're talking about? Yeah, I thought if you were going to recast Freddy, I thought that was a great choice, but the movie did not work. Yeah. T. Marcel says Tyrese Gibson from music to actor.
That's fair. That's fair. Yeah, he really did come. I don't like his roles, but I liked him in Transformers when Transformers was like at its early stages. He became kind of like a weird comedy relief. And I actually do not like him in Fast and the Furious at all. Even though I like Fast and Furious as like a franchise. I just it's weird.
That's a good one too. Will Smith. I forgot because he was music. Was he music first?
I think so. He's probably top, but I think anyone born after a certain time doesn't even consider him a musician anymore.
That's true.
or may not have ever even known him to be one. There's a lot of kids today who still didn't know. When he slapped Chris Rock, a lot of people, and they started doing this whole diatribe on who Will Smith is. A lot of people had no clue that he was a musician, which
Oh
was
my
kind of
goodness.
funny.
They need to listen to Welcome to Miami.
Which is he's uber success. So Della Movies is actually correct here. Will Smith probably is the number one, and actually I see Brian Childs of like Mark Wahlberg probably might even be 1A. But yeah, Will Smith was really successful as an artist, like platinum records and everything.
Yeah,
So
there was like that 3 to 5 year time period where it was just like multiple hits per year, all party
yeah,
songs. Yeah, huge. And soundtracks, like I feel like it was like Wild Wild West, and then
Men in
a lot,
Black.
a lot of stuff like that. Hey Tiana, so happy for you to join us today. Thank you so much. They want to prevent a Henry and a Witcher kind of scenario. Do you think it's referring to Bond or no?
No, just in general, the Henry Henry knew a lot about Witcher lore. Like he was actually a fan. Like he had read the books, he had played the games, and Henry, from what we hear, Henry's a huge nerd in real life, and so he was on set, kind of acting as that person to give the correct of like, hey, you should do this, or Geralt wouldn't do that, and apparently up and down, the showrunners did not like that.
Wow.
And then it ruined the show.
So, yeah. I think if I had watched The Witcher, I would have been like a lot more aware of. I had heard like drama going on with that show, and I know what happened eventually, but I think because I didn't see the show, I didn't really follow it as intently.
That's another missed opportunity because they had it. Yeah, it's crazy. Will Smith has had a double. Yeah, we forget how successful he was even before acting, and it's interesting that like that career, again, not just because of generation and age, like we forget. At least new today kids, they don't even know, but a lot of us sometimes forget that he had it like that. It's pretty interesting.
I think, yeah, because he mentioned like, oh, Michael Jackson in Men in Black, and then yeah.
I get the reference.
Love for lore and geekdom bode well for Highlander.
Yes, I think Highlander sees the mistakes of The Witcher and go, we're not doing that. Also, there's a lot of money involved, so they really don't want to do that.
So what do you think, like, it doesn't have to be like what you think is successful, but like what do you kind of like planning on seeing in the next couple months, or even like on TV or streaming or things like that? Like what are you kind of excited for?
I was surprised by The Beekeeper, which was like your general action B movie. We both talked about Argyle, so that's for sure. And then there's just like a lot of random stuff I think that we're interested in seeing. Dune, obviously, March. That's going to be interesting. Both of us are on record saying we don't think they should have changed the date, but that's here nor there. I'm not as interested in Ghostbusters as like a lot of people. I don't know. We'll see with that one. But Civil War is probably my most anticipated.
Same. Is that February release or March?
No, that might be I think that's in April.
Okay, let me see. Civil.
It could be. I think it's April or late March. I know it's like supposed to be like a spring thing, and then they're going to talk about that movie all summer. Yeah,
April 12th. Yes,
okay.
April 12th.
And then also in April, we saw the Dev Patel, Monkey Man, like his little like John Wick type. That looked really good.
That looked so good, and I can't believe that he wrote it and directed it.
Oh, I'm happy that he's been able to kind of keep himself up and relevant enough to kind of get into doing that kind of thing. So I think that'll work out well.
Yeah, Slumdog Millionaire, and then just kind of just doing his own thing for a bit, and choosing the right roles, and not maybe not necessarily the popular roles. One of my favorite HBO shows was called The Newsroom, and it got canceled way too soon. They only had 2.5 seasons. But if
Yeah.
people like Jack Daniels and they like news related stuff, and it's dated back, so it's kind of like if you're watching a series about a newsroom, they're doing stories that would have happened like 3 years ago. So, and again,
Mhm.
this is probably from almost 10 years ago now, but it's really fascinating to see how they did it. And the acting's really good and the writing's really good. It's an Aaron Sorkin
Yeah.
show. And Dev Patel like chose that like right after Slumdog Millionaire. So he definitely like was really specific about the choices he made.
Right.
Yeah. So, um, oh yeah, is he doing Highlander? Is that
He's doing Highlander and Warhammer, both. So Henry just became like this crazy, ridiculous free agent after he got dropped by Superman and The Witcher, or DC and The Witcher, and like then everybody just kind of started offering him stuff. But the guy can stay busy. I know that for sure. But I think franchise wise, yeah, for Warhammer and Highlander, which might be interchangeable in terms of the name. People might get that confused, but yeah.
I did know Will Smith was an actor, but I'm not a fan of his music at all. Yeah, it's party music. So it's like,
Mhm.
especially it's like 2000s, early 2000s party music. It's like such
There.
an era, so I
Ice
get it if you're not like just throwing it on. Oh
Ice
yeah.
Cube.
Yeah.
Now we know, but yeah, there are kids today who Ice Cube to them is like, hey, that's that guy from 21 Jump Street or the Kevin Hart movies.
Yes.
Which is,
Yep.
yeah, that's crazy. But Ice Cube was that guy, so yeah, for sure.
What's your least favorite movie from every year in the 2000s? So I guess in the 2000s decade, what's your least from? That's a hard question. There's so many
Too
options.
many. Yeah, right.
Too many, so many
It's too
options.
many. Like
Yeah.
way too many.
Yes.
Yeah.
Uh, Especially that was an odd anything post 9/11 was very there's like been so many studies about pop culture and movies before 9/11
Mhm.
and after it, and like people really wanted like a lot more of a lighter fare. Like I feel like there was like a lot of like 1999 is a great example, like one of the best years in film, we all know that. But
Right.
a lot of serious stuff in there, and then you get to 2001, or I guess it would be like 2020 or 2003, 4, 5, and it's a lot lighter. And it's
Mhm.
just because people, I guess, wanted to be more lifted up and not brought down. So,
It was also very
yeah.
experimental. That was an
Yeah.
experimental time. We also had a weird thing with back then, we didn't know what we really wanted to have. Because, like, if you think about, like, you watch a movie from 2002, any teen movie, any action movie, something like that, you're bound to see a couple of correct things, right? You're going to see a hot blonde. You're going to see frosted tips. You're going to hear some kind of punk rock, Limp Bizkit type of music. Like,
Yeah.
those are staples of that time. But unlike the 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, whatever, like, that wasn't a long period of time. Like, that might have lasted less than a decade.
Yeah.
That whole, and so
Absolutely.
it's it's almost in its own little capsule, but it's like still good. But not all movies hold up very well from that time period that aren't big budget like fantasy type things, The Matrix, Lord of the Rings type things like that.
Yeah. No, that's a really good point. Yeah. I think it's a lot from movies based off of the years they came out, what
Yeah.
events happened prior and afterwards. It's really interesting to take a step back and kind of like if you look at an older film, like even something from like the 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, and you kind of see what was influencing it that was going on around the world. There's so
Mhm.
much you can really learn about,
Right.
a lot of things like that. So
Agreed.
yeah. D. Marcel said kids don't know Ice Cube was about that
They
murder
really
life.
don't. They really don't. And it's so, it like kind of ages us when we realize that people don't know about somebody's past, but we do. Because now you're like, oh, wait, I remember that. And then you go, oh, I remember that. It's what
Yeah.
happened.
Yeah, absolutely. Um, Friday for sure. Oh, because Dimension Scott said I say Ice
Oh
Cube, best
yeah.
acting
Oh
is
yeah.
Friday.
Friday is top tier.
Yes. um, would you guys also count Disney stars like Zendaya, Selena Gomez, Miley Cyrus, Demi Lovato, Raven Simone, and more? Oh, for
I don't.
musicians?
Yes. I
Yeah,
think
that's a good
they were
question.
trained. They were all trained to be actors, though, and I think that's the difference when we give it. Like Ice Cube wasn't really trained to be an actor.
Right.
Um, Eminem definitely wasn't trained to be an actor. 50 Cent wasn't trained to be an actor. He was in Get Rich or Die Trying. Like, whereas you know that a lot of those Disney stars, it was kind of a trifecta. You get your show, you get your album, and you get like all these kind of different gigs, like attachments, commercials, that kind of thing. That's like the trifecta of Disney that always happens. And even with Will Smith, like Will Smith and Mark Wahlberg are in their own thing. They weren't necessarily trained to be actors, but they got a lot of stuff early that allowed them to like hone their craft.
Right. Yeah. That's a good point, and I think like a lot of these Disney stars, right, like as soon as they book a gig on Disney, like they're gonna have a bunch of acting coaches, they're gonna have a bunch of vocal coaches, things like that. So it's more of
Does
a product, right?
Zendaya sing? Does she actually sing?
I don't know. I don't think she does. I feel like I saw that she was like a
I
really
wouldn't be
small side
surprised.
character on something. I wouldn't be surprised. I would not be. But I feel like
Yeah.
she was like really little, I feel like when she was on. I saw a couple of
Mhm.
clips recently. I was like, "Oh, I did not know she was on the Disney Channel at all." It's not like, like Miley Cyrus and Demi Lovato. I mean, Selena
I would
Gomez can't
say
technically sing, but
I'll give Hannah Montana credit though. I think she did a pretty solid job. I do.
yeah.
Miley Cyrus she was big and objectively, like if you were around during that time, you know how big Miley Cyrus was. So I would say she might be the most successful out of the Disney stars, or at least one of the most successful.
I absolutely agree with that. There's there's a YouTuber who I brought up on here before, and he comments on all of the old school like VMAs and MTV Music Movie Awards and things like that, and it's always called like blah 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 from 2004 was a hot mess. And there's like you
Mhm.
can watch the Miley Cyrus one when she hosted like the music video awards and things like that, and that was like her era where she was having like the biggest like explosion of her career, but she was
Yeah,
on so much LSD, and it's like the craziest thing to watch. And she's talked
craziness.
about like she's doing a lot of drugs. She was dating a DJ at the time, I think, or some other rock star. But it was
That'll
like
do it.
wild to see, and like yes, it was a hot mess. But she's definitely the most. I agree with you. I would say the most successful. Um, from actors to singers, yes, absolutely. Well, we are about at our oh, thank you for answering this. Zendaya does have music. Okay, that's
Okay.
the
Yeah,
yeah, it's definitely saying she has pretty successful music career. I had no idea, and thank you for
I
keeping
definitely didn't know. Yeah.
yeah, me not being too much of out of touch with things. But yeah, thank you guys so much for stopping by in the chat. John, like I'm so anticipating this American Fiction versus the other film. Or sorry, is a very long title, but yes, I'm very excited to see that. What do you have going on?
Mhm.
Let us know.
I'm in copyright hell, as I've said before, so I'm trying to just get out of copyright hell.
Is it because of the
But
imagery,
also
like, the footage? Is that it?
I'm pulling. I've changed my style a little bit. It's one of the reasons why I haven't released a video in a while, because I'm like kind of changing the way I do videos a little bit. Shorts I still release, but I'm using interviews and things like that as well. So I'm just getting the timing down because I haven't necessarily really done that as of late. So doing that, and I'll get out of it. It's my Fin video, which is members only, that kind of got copyrighted, which was surprising because that actually got copyrighted. And then I'm doing one for Halo, which that's going to be an interesting one to see if Paramount gets me.
You would
I'll
think
get
that
it out.
the only videos shouldn't be copywritten, like, or shouldn't have an issue.
I don't
But
know what it is. Well, I'll get it
yeah.
out. And then Brand versus the Man live tomorrow. And yeah, we just kind of keep it going. ISO Cubes on Thursday.
Yes. Wonderful. Well, thank you so much for joining me today. And again, thank you so
Yeah,
much
of
for
course.
everyone in the chat. And actually, I'm so sorry. I should really do this. I can't believe I didn't. I posted a poll. I just want to show the results really quick, and I didn't end it. So 1 second, and we'll sign off. But I just feel like everyone voted, and I have to at least acknowledge
Oh
what
yeah,
they
of
said.
course.
It was John, as you know, I'm pretty much like almost done with Beef. I'm probably watching the finale
Mhm.
tonight.
Okay.
And I've been obsessed with it. So I'm gonna just I did do a poll. I know I'm like 7 months too late on this show.
Nah,
Okay,
you watch when you
then
watch.
yes. The question was, did you watch Beef? 47% said no, 28% said yes, and then 23% said no, but I want to. So
Okay.
21 people voted. Thank you so much for doing that. It's a really good show. I mean, at least I'm liking it. I have not finished it yet, and I know the finale could maybe change my mind, but I'm
Right.
excited. So
Awesome.
I know you saw it, right?
I have seen it. I do like it.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah.
Well, again, thanks so much, and we'll see you guys next time.
Awesome.